This is KGW News at Sunrise.
Well, thanks for being with us. We start this morning with heartbreaking news for Blazers fans and all of Portland. Legendary announcer Bill Schonely has died at the age of 93. His friend and biographer Carrie Eggers tweeted the news early this morning. Schonely, of course, served as the Blazers play-by-play voice from the franchise's inception in 1970, a role he would occupy for nearly 3 full decades until 1998. That included the Blazers' championship season in 1977. And he is the man who coined the term Rip City when referring to Portland. Now, the Shawns would later return to the Blazers organization as a team ambassador in the community that he just loves so much. Again, Bill Schonely has died. He was 93 years old. I'm Tim Gordon alongside Chris McGinnis, and I know a lot of people getting this news this morning are thinking about their favorite memories, starting to see it pop up on the social media. But what a great guy, really.
Yeah, and you know the voice. You've heard it. If you've been here for any length of time, he is synonymous with the Blazers.
Yeah, he is the mayor
City,
of Rip City for sure.
All right, let's take you to the Oregon coast right now. A live look from Lincoln City, our Chinook Winds Casino Resort camera on the beach. The surf is up, and of course, with the king tides this weekend, the increased threat of sneaker waves. Anybody headed to the beach, it's just a rule always, but especially today, don't ever turn your back on the ocean, right? So keep one eye to the left or right as you kind of comb along the beach, and keep an eye to the sky too, because the rain is going to be coming down here pretty soon. In fact, radar now showing rain along the South Washington and the North Oregon coast up towards Astoria. Snow in the higher terrain of the coast range. The snow levels will creep up, so I'm not anticipating any problems there. But be on the lookout. The clouds are quickly moving in. This weather system is quickly moving in. So we've got a dry morning, and actually the fog has thickened up a little bit over downtown Portland right now. This is the live look from our Wells Fargo sky camera. Temperature-wise, we're in the low to mid-30s. It's 35 in Vancouver, 35 downtown Portland. Tiger checking in with 35, and it's 34 at last report in Salem. All right, the plan for today, we certainly have frosty areas and foggy areas. Clouds are quickly thickening. Tim, rain already falling along the North Oregon coast. I think it gets to the Portland-Vancouver metro area sometime between about 10 and maybe 11:30. So midday rain, and then maybe some sun breaks and a breeze to finish off our Saturday.
All right, a lot of variety today. Thanks, Chris. Well, in Gresham, police say a man tried to sexually assault a woman before she fought him off. She called police but ended up waiting on hold for an hour and a half. Police say the woman called the non-emergency number and not 911. Catherine Cook talked with police about when and when not to call 911.
We're wanting just the people be a little bit extra vigilant and just keep their eye out.
Thursday afternoon, around 12:15, Gresham police say a man attacked a woman at Pat Pfeiffer Park. That's near Northeast 172nd and Burnside.
This was an unprovoked, attempted sexual assault.
Officer Jerem Swayze says the woman was alone and just trying to enjoy the park.
She fought off her attacker and ran away from the park and then called it in. Unfortunately, like I said, the call was routed through the non-emergency line, so there was a delay.
That delay, according to police, was an hour and a half, 90 minutes until the victim was able to report what happened. Once she did, police say they responded right away, but by then, the suspect was nowhere to be found. Portland's Bureau of Emergency Communications tells us, in a case like this, it would have been appropriate for the victim to call 911. The question is, why wasn't she certain enough to call it? We asked BOEC spokesperson Dan Douthit.
Hearing a scenario like that, what does that tell you?
It's terrible. Somebody needed law enforcement right away, and they weren't able to connect with us. And so it just shows that we need to continue working to make it so that people are not waiting a long time to reach our call takers.
And he says it's important to remind people when they can and should call 911. In recent months, victims of many crimes have been asked to call the non-emergency number to keep 911 open for urgent responses. Douthit admits the messaging can be confusing. He hopes this example will help.
If someone is in the act of breaking into a vehicle and they're still at that vehicle trying to break in, you would call 911 because you need to have law enforcement right away. If you find your vehicle broken into many hours later, that would be an example of when to call the non-emergency.
According to BOEC, the average hold time for calling 911 was 45 seconds in November. Still below the national standard, which recommends 90% of 911 calls be answered within 15 seconds. The city is dealing with 15 to 30% more 911 calls now than they were a few years ago. And they're short on dispatchers. A few months ago, they had 37 unfilled positions. Douthit says in the next year or so, they should all be filled.
With the increase that we've seen in total 911 calls, this will help us be able to manage that better.
Well, if you are ever in doubt about what number to call during an emergency, BOEX says to call 911. A dispatcher can then reroute you to the non-emergency line if your call can wait. But as we saw in this case, the reverse is not true. Portland police are investigating 2 more deadly shootings that happened early Friday morning. They've arrested 1 person so far who's suspected in the shooting death of a man near Southeast 84th and Taylor. That happened around 2 a.m. Friday. Another person was killed a few hours earlier in Northeast Portland near 42nd and Prescott. There have been no arrests yet in that case. Victims' names have not been released as well. Well, thieves smashed up a Portland store, getting away with more than $100,000 in cash and merchandise. You can see the surveillance video here from cameras inside the House of Pipes that caught the break-in early Wednesday morning. The thieves broke open display cases and pried a safe out of the floor. The store's owner says police didn't come to investigate until 12 hours later. The owner is calling on the city to do better to protect businesses from rising crime. They're also hoping someone recognizes the suspects you see right there. Well, solving the staffing shortage that's been taxing local hospitals. Workers on all levels, from nurses to hospital leaders, agree it's time to make a change. Alma McCarty found out they're now bringing their concerns to Salem.
Friday afternoon outside Providence, Oregon headquarters. Nurses line up with signs rallying support. The union calling for strong contracts for frontline workers within the Providence system.
Willamette Falls and St. Vincent, we just bargained last year. We won very strong contracts we were really happy with. So we're really hoping that our sister hospitals can, do the same.
The group also advocating for all nurses, pushing for what they call safe staffing at all hospitals. Virginia Smith is a board member with the Oregon Nurses Association.
Ultimately, it helps all of Oregonians to have, nurses at the bedside that are trained, that are well taken care of, that get their rest and meal breaks, and that have enough help to actually do their jobs.
Over the past 3 years, they've been especially stretched thin, with more patients than ever before.
We were all just kind of holding our breath and really trying to kind of hold still just to see what was going to happen next. And now, with the decrease in overall health of our total communities, we're seeing people that are sicker and sicker walking through our doors.
Pretty dire conditions. All of us are a little tired and overwhelmed, exhausted.
It's no surprise to anyone here that so many have left the bedside. Deborah Williston, who's been a nurse for more than 20 years, says it's time for a change.
Most corporate medicine, in my opinion, including Providence, talks about patient-centered care. And that's what we needed to get back to. And we needed to get back to supporting the people who provide that.
Providence sent a statement to KGW writing in part, "We take staffing extremely seriously and are working hard to attract new nurses and retain our current valued caregivers through market competitive compensation and benefits." The hospital system also noting the nursing shortage is a national and global problem. A problem the state's hospital association is also working to fix.
The long-term solution to our workforce challenges are to grow the healthcare workforce. At this point in time, we simply don't have enough available staff to hire.
Both groups are calling on the Oregon legislature to take action this session, presenting agendas specifically aimed at recruiting and retaining nurses, incentivizing nursing educators, and stabilizing hospital systems.
The bills we have proposed are not the full scope of changes we may be contemplating. We need to engage in a collaborative process with stakeholders to come up with a bill that works for employees but continues to protect patients' access to care.
While the nurses and hospital administrators agree on most of the bills expected this session, there is some debate over House Bill 2697. ONA is advocating for the bill, which establishes minimum standards for nurse staffing and imposes penalties on hospitals for a failure to adopt the plan. The Oregon Association of Hospitals says it's concerned that the bill could cause hospitals to shut down beds if they can't hire enough staff to meet the ratios laid out in that bill. We'll be right back.